Bert, welcome.
I'm going to get emotional, Ron.
Are you ready?
Oh, I'm sure I will.
Just go ahead and go. Let yourself go.
You know this is like a big deal for me.
Is that right?
100%. Look, there are people from Tampa in this room who are geeked out as much as I am because we grew up listening to you. You defined our comedic sensibility just as much as Bill Murray, as Rodney Dangerfield. You were the guy that we listened to driving to school if our parents were cool, if our uncles got a DUI or whatever. And
I'm the DUI guy? That's my...
That was your demographic.
Yeah. Actually, it's not too far off. That was one ugly demographic I had. But that's actually very cool. And I hear that from people from Florida from time to time because that was, well, let me just say, from the average listener that had there, you went too far with it. You know what I mean? Like you, like everyone's like, oh, Bert, isn't he crazy? I'm like, that's every gig I ever did in my life in Florida. It's really it. It's really it. But, you know, I'm honored as well that you came here today and you left your shirt on. So let's hear it for him, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. That's Florida for you right there. That's Florida's take your shirt off. You remember those Bucks games when they're like, all right, we're going to make a law that your shirt has to be on in them. Yeah. That's Florida.
Here was always the worst thing at a Bucks game, too. Everybody would have, all the men would have their shirts on. Then it would be that 15-minute rain back into heat. Yeah. So you're in a huge 80,000 people steam bath, and it stinks like dirt. Oh. And no one mentioned it. No one brought it up.
Aggressive BO.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about that area did you grow up there?
Grew up in Tampa.
Yeah. Is a lot of people, you know, of course, retire, go to Florida, but a lot of people just drop out early and go to Florida.
Yeah, that is the essence of the what we now know as a Florida man.
Right.
Like, I mean, I'm not even fucking around. Our dudes we went to high school with are now a Florida man.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's a Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office site where you can find out the arrest records. All of my friends from high school are a Florida man. My uncles were a Florida man. And like, it's hard to get out of there without being a Florida man.
Yeah.
And you always have that a Florida man in your head where you do stupid shit, like attack someone with a weed whacker, and you're like, what? I grew up in Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, but that was like, you know, I say this candidly. Growing up in Florida, you have a different sensibility. I remember we used to have this big scavenger hunt. It was one day at Jesuit where we all had to go to church for 2 hours on Friday. That's all we had to do. So Thursday night, we all got hammered and did a scavenger hunt. And everyone came back with this guy pulled a gun on me story. Fritz Casper's in the front seat. Blake Casper, who now owns all the McDonald's in Tampa's in the front seat going, pull the trigger, motherfucker! and we're on Bayshore. Taking a left on Bayshore. We're at that light and we're going to take a left on Bayshore. And Fritz is looking at him going, at the light, letting it turn red. And he's like, the guy's going to run out. He's going to jump in the car. He's going to run out. And as soon as the guy opens the door to run out, Fritz punches it. His car stalls. And he's like, oh, shit. And kicks it back in. The guy jumps on our car on Bayshore, gun in his hand, on the side of the car, swing at us. And I'm just thinking, that's childhood.
Yeah, right. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's not even a story you could tell at Thanksgiving. It just happens all the time there.
Oh, everyone pulled a gun on. Everyone has guns.
Yeah.
And it was that. I think that explains your sensibility when you go back to Florida. You and your friends, and this is going to sound sullen, but either dead in rehab, clean, or just still fucking around and just getting their 5th DUI.
Yeah.
You're like, God damn it, man! This was my loins. These are the loins I came out of.
Yes. You know what was always funny when I did radio down there and we go out and do gigs, and you would shake hands with people. The amount of people missing a digit, it's unbelievable. Like every 3rd and 4th person is missing a finger. Yeah.
I want to go back.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same. I never was as comfortable as I was there. But you were a ball player too. You never bring that up much. You were a ball player when you were young.
Yeah, I I played my whole life in Forest Hills, then went to Jesuit because of the baseball team. It was the first time humility ever hit me, was not making the team my freshman or sophomore year and playing JV and being like, God, but I was good. But everyone we played was so good. There's kids from Jesuit in here right now. Our pitcher was a guy named Brad Radke who went pro, and I was his catcher. And because I was his catcher, I got recruited too. And so I remember I got offers from the Citadel, from Duke, and then Coach Crumbly was like, if you go to Florida State, that you can walk on.
Right.
And I mean, I think any one of us, our goal was Florida State or Florida. That was it. It was Florida State or Florida. No one went to UCF or USF at the time. And I got into Florida State, and I was like, that's it. I'm walking on the baseball team. Walked on my first day, met the coach. I remember he didn't even call me by my name, and he was like, yeah. He's like, hey, you're not the best guy out here, but you can go catch a bullpen. And I was like, I remember thinking, and he's like, and you're going to quit your fraternity because the partying is not going to do anything for you. And I remember thinking, I'm going to trade baseball for partying. I'm being dead serious. I was like, I'm much better at partying than I am baseball.
Yeah.
And who wants to blow out their knees catching bullpen for 4 years? And his son, Mike, whatever, I forget his name, but his son was the catcher. He went on to play for the Expos. But and I really regret this, but I left my bag and I walked out the left field gate and I went to Sally Hall and I got high. And I've never played baseball since.
By the way, this the thing that you're laughing would be a sad story anywhere else, wouldn't it? Yeah. It would be like this would be like, oh my God, it's so sad, and everyone's just like, good.
I walked in. I had cleats on, and Mike, you remember this, but like Chili Willie, Paul, Chandler. We used to black out the rooms, and they'd poke holes in the thing so you could see. It looked like stars were in there, and we get high, and we call it time travel, and we just lay and just get high and stare at the stars, and it was like you were like, holy shit! And I walked in the room, they were doing that. I still had my baseball clothes on. I was like, give me a hit, I'm going with you guys. And we laid on our backs and time traveled.
Still had the uni on. That's the funniest shit. Yeah. But of course, when you're an adult, you're like, oh, the poor kid. But at the time, I would have cheered you on.
Oh, at the time, it just made so much sense. I was like, because I remember, and this will speak to my comedy. When I was a kid playing with Brad Radke, he pitched for the Twins. He arguably could have won a Cy Young Award one year. Watching him play when we were kids, our dads would go, just look at him. It's effortless. And it was. He did everything so great. And I remember my dad saying, like, when you find your thing like that, that's when you know what you'll have. And the first time I did stand-up comedy, I remember I called my dad and I said, I found my thing like Radke. He was like, well, then you got to go after it. But watching those guys play, it was always harder for me.
Oh yeah. I mean, first of all, the people, the kids in Florida, the baseballs at a high, like you could be driving down the road, pull over, buy some hot fish that some guy's cooking on a fucking screen grill, and sit and watch high school kids. And like, this is amazing.
Oh, it was hardcore. Our high school was like, baseball was the thing, and our football team was okay, but man, baseball. I played winter ball and summer ball. I played baseball all year round my whole life. And when I stopped, it was like this weird sense of mourning. Like I couldn't play intramural softball. It depressed me.
Sure, of course.
And I couldn't watch baseball. It depressed me. And I was like, it's just dead to me. And I just stopped altogether. But I've since sung like the things at the baseball games. I love baseball now.
Well, yeah, it's just as good. What you did. Now, when we're doing, by the time this plays, it'll be time for your special. But before this, it's the series and then election, which once again is in Florida's hands. So,
dude,
give me your both predictions on World Series and the election, and we'll see if it comes true.
I think it's going to be Cubs and Hillary. It's got to be Cubs and Hillary. I was on my first TV show. My first TV show I was on. They were like talking about the election, and I kind of was embracing this meathead in me, and I was like, I'm not fucking voting. I'm not voting. Your vote doesn't count. Your vote doesn't count. Besides, I'm a write-in vote from Florida. Who's going to count that one? And it was the Bush election.
Yeah.
And literally, I could not look like a bigger ass. They're like, your actual vote might have fucking counted. I mean, like, just bold. My vote to rip my shirt off. My vote doesn't fucking count. Oh.
We'd actually have actual time travel now if you would have voted. Everything would have been different. That's funny, though, that you talk about that thing about being a natural, right? And for comedy, for you, you're one of those people that you didn't write material even when you walked up on stage the first time. You just walked up.
Yeah, the first time I did stand-up was at Potbelly's in Tallahassee. A radio show had heard... I've been written up in Rolling Stone magazine as the #1 party animal in the country.
Again, that should be sad.
Yeah.
It really should be. He walked away in his uniform and got high. That should make us sad.
That's the beginning of the perfect movie.
It really is.
Everything responsible in my life, and I win. That's like a flip-flop scenario of the high school teacher who wants to go back into the pros and start pitching in the backyard.
Yeah.
So Rolling Stone discovered me and called me the #1 party animal in the country. And it was like a 6.5-page article. It changed my life. It really changed my life. And in the article, I said I wanted to be a comedian. So this radio station put on a live event. 4 comics. One comic who's he's not doing comedy as much, but he's out in L.A. His name's Christian Harloff. He actually gave me the best advice of my entire life that night. But I had no material. I just was like, I got a few ideas. I'll wing it. And it was sold out. It was packed. And right before I went on stage, I grabbed a beer. I grabbed a Natty Light, or I think it was a Natty Light. And Christian Harloff said, "Don't do that." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because you're already a party guy, but like if you do this drunk, you're going to have to do it drunk the rest of your life." He said, "Do it sober. See if you like it sober. And if you can do it sober, then you can do that sober for the rest of your life. You don't want that in your life." And I put the beer down, and I didn't bring it on stage, and I did it stone sober. And I for what I could remember, I killed. I did really well.
Wait a minute. You were sober and had a blackout?
Yes. Yes. The first time. I call it gray out. The radio station offered me my own morning show, and they were like, they came up to me and they're like, "We want you to do your own morning show." By the way, not because I was talented on stage, but I also was this #1 party animal in Rolling Stone magazine, and they said, "You'll be third mic, and then this guy's going to leave in a month, and then it'll be your show." And I sat with a guy at Potbelly's in the far right corner of the table outside, and I said, "So we're going to be working together?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "For a month." And I was like, "How cool is this?" And he's like, And I was like, why would you leave? And he was like, "Who the fuck wants to live in Tallahassee?" And it was like, I could see it like a beautiful mind just written right in front of me. Who the fuck wants to live in Tallahassee? I was like, me either, I guess.
The funny thing is you just were there for 6 years for school.
6 or 7 really, but yeah. I spent I was in college longer than grunge music was around. He shot himself in my second junior year. So I said, "Where are you going?" And he said, "New York." And I said, I'm going to New York." And this guy who now works at Kimmel had done this piece on me, and I taped that set. I sent it to him. He sent it to a guy named Jason Steinberg, who most comics know, and Jason Steinberg said, "I think you're funny. Move to New York. I'll try to help you." And I called my dad and I said, "I'm moving to New York." And so I moved to New York based on that one set.
Well, that impulsive-ness has always played a big part of your life, right? Just
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Impulse. We actually, this is something I talk about in therapy. I'm a man of impulse, like to a flaw. Biggest problem with me. I love when someone it's like 8 a.m. and someone just goes, "You want to get drunk?" And you're like, "Fuck yes!" Like, I love that feel. I love the roll of the dice of like, hey, like hey, I got edibles, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I'm being dead serious. When like my 21st birthday, I had anxiety because it was planned out. You're supposed to get drunk. It's expected of you. I don't like that. I can't do that. Like, even like eating shows, like I'll go in hungry, but I get there and I get like nervous and I can't eat. But the impulse of ordering 3 meals and sampling them like by yourself. I did that the other day at Bear Burger. I got like 3 burgers and then sampled them and took a picture of the healthy one and put it on Instagram. But I'm a man of impulse, and that's bit me in the ass because I've said yes to stuff that, like, TV shows where I do dangerous shit, and I go, what the I've woken up, full-blown panic attacks, throwing up in bathtubs, calling my wife going, I've made a lot of really bad decisions. I never made any decisions sober, and I just literally was like, I'll fucking do it. And that's the way I live my life. And I have had many, like, I could name easily 5 times I've been in a shower on my knees praying to God, crying, going, why can't I just be like a regular person? But
Well, real quick, do you think that God's in the shower? Is that why is that you know they have churches?
it's the only place I pray. I only pray in the shower. I've always prayed in the shower.
God is going, what? I can't hear you.
God's like, why are you talking to me now? Closing his eyes. I know I made it, but what did you do to it?
So the shower is your prayer spot.
I'll pray tomorrow morning in the shower.
Yeah.
I will, because I'll fly. I always say, I do rituals. I wash my entire body. I leave the soap on. I crouch down like a catcher, and I say a prayer. And then I visualize myself getting to the place safely, and then I say a prayer for my family, and I go, we're fine.
Yeah. Do you wash the soap off? Or?
After that, but
okay,
I have it all over my body. My body's got to be covered in soap. I'm a little obsessive compulsive, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Should note that out. A man of impulse with obsessive compulsive is not fun.
I just feel bad you weren't there to tell Buddy Holly how to keep the plane in the air. Scrub down, kneel like and say prayers.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
By the way, kneeling like a catcher is not in any religion in the world.
Drop down like someone's stealing second. Coming down. Oh.
You know, I was telling you this before. You talk about being impulsive, but I watched you on Periscope for a long time, and they would just come up at the oddest times.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're in a phenomenal, great mood, and other times you're just really down and on the road and missing home.
But that's the thing I don't understand. Like, okay, I like I've said this to you, but my favorite interview you've ever done was with that kid from National Treasure. It was real. It was so, if you don't know the interview, the kid comes in hot and he's being kind of a dick, and Ronnie just beats and says, no, fuck you, leave. We're not doing it. And the kid apologizes. He goes, I'm really sorry. I messed up. Can we start this over? And Ron's like, I don't know. It's the great. I can tell you where I was. When I listened to it, it is my favorite thing because it was real. I like real. Real respects real. And so I've always looked at social media as like, I do not get this propaganda-driven cult of personality that some of them take on. And my friends, you know, and I'll name them. Dane, Kevin, Amy, they all have this thing where they can't show you their flaws sometimes because maybe people attack them. I don't know. So I've always had this thing like, fuck it, show them every part, even the scabby parts and the dirty parts. And I had one time where I was spiraling out of control, and I was like, fuck this, I'm fat as fuck, and I'm like losing my shit. And the two worst people in the world for me to watch it, Tom Segura and Ronnie B. I don't know. They're watching me spin. I'm like, look at this fat fucking stomach. These jeans are tight. My pubic hairs are stretching on my legs. I'm drinking a vodka, and I murder a vodka. And these two,
you just have these tiny airplane bottles all over your room.
In my man cave.
Yeah.
And these two, and then I'm like, and then I have a normal life. Like 5 days later, they call me and they're like, we're worried about you. I was like, wait, you don't have those moments? And Segura's like, I do. I don't share them with 9,000 people. It is completely like I wish I could fix that in me, but it's part of the thing that like I like taking big swings. I like big gulps. I like living large, and I'm vulnerable. And I cry on planes a lot, and like that just happens. Like just a movie will catch me wrong, and I'll have to throw the sunglasses on, or a song will come on like Bachman Turner Overdrive. You ain't seen nothing yet. Dun, dun. I'm like, fuck, that's right. I got a lot of life to live, and sunglasses are on. Double Jameson's down, and I'm like, we're gonna think. Put on some Joe Walsh, Rocky Mountain Way. We got this.
I do have a theory that people are way more emotional on an airplane than anywhere else, man.
Dude, Walking Tall with The Rock. When he rips his shirt open, he goes, "This will never happen to anyone else in this town." And he's got the scars. I am sobbing uncontrollably. And I was like, you, my man, made your way into my heart for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Let's hope you parallel out of this wrestling thing and really keep making movies. I watch The Rock's Instagram all the time.
Yeah.
Before I go to CrossFit, I'll watch The Rock, and I'll just watch him work out. I'll be like, that's right, we can do this, Rock.
There's no doubt that one of you can. One of you has got it.
Yeah, one of us definitely does.
But this is the thing. There is something about you that everybody admires. Have some water. Everybody, he just killed the water real fast. Impulse.
Who makes these baby ones? What are we doing? Murder those.
But you go around treating the world as if they're friends first, right? I mean, look, it seems like everywhere you go, somebody would love to have a beer with the machine.
Yeah.
And unlike most people of your stature, you're willing to do it, it seems like.
That's a flaw.
Yeah.
It's a definite flaw.
Yeah.
It's I think it's an intimacy thing, but like one of the biggest moments of my career, this is going to sound silly, but when I moved to New York, the guy that I was like, you could bring this guy with any of my friends, and my friends would think he's the funniest human being in the world, was Dave Attell. And I wanted more than anything to get drunk with Dave Attell. That was like, I'm talking, it went get drunk with Dave Attell, get a deal, get on Letterman, like. And so I got my opportunity. He was sick. We were in Miami. I just had Georgia, my oldest daughter. This was 12 years ago in June. And he was sick, and he just didn't feel like drinking the whole week. And then on Sunday night, he ponied up, and he was like, fuck it, let's do it. Tonight's your night, let's do it. And it meant so much to me that he took the time to compromise his antibiotics and go out with me, and he got swarmed. Like, I've never seen anything like this. The second we went out, everyone was around him. Everyone was buying him shots, and he's just passing them to me. He get two, Bert take one. And I felt like I was made of gold. It was my favorite night. I just had a kid, and I literally forgot to call home and be like, how's the baby? It was the most meaningful thing in my life,
Not the baby, drinking with Attell.
Drinking with David. I mean, I just met this baby. I had known Attell for 8 years.
Good point.
And the baby didn't talk. You've heard Dave. Yeah. He's funny. Like,
yeah.
And so in a weird way, like when I hear people say like, dude, it's my dream to have a beer with a machine, I go, no, I know what that feels like. That's my biggest fault. I'm a fan first. I'm a comic second. Like, I'm a fan of podcasts, your radio show. I can tell you intimately shows you've done that I've listened to. One of my favorite Ron and Fez ever was I'm on La Cienega with my wife, and I go, oh, Ronnie B's on. You gotta love Ron and Fez. And I turn on, and it's 15 seconds of silence. And then slowly you hear a man crying. And my wife looks at me and she goes, you like this? And then you hear Ron go, come on, Fezzy. And he's like, Ronnie! By the way, for us fans, that is radio fucking gold. You're not going anywhere. You're not getting out of your car. You're taking the long way home, and you hope there's traffic.
You know what's funny, though? We gave you so much of it. That I don't know what gold was worth anymore.
But that's my problem, is I'm a fan first, so I get it when someone says I want to do a shot with the machine. It's hard. I turn them down now, or I do Fireball, but like I'll be like
compromise.
Yeah,
good.
Which I think is giving me diabetes. But I want to have that. I want them to feel like I'm accessible and you know, it's like I have friends who are like Segura is not that guy.
No,
he is not. He's like, no, I get off stage, I go to the green room, I go home, and I go to sleep. He's like, if I drink, I just by myself in my room. I'm not hanging with people. And I was like, yeah, but Like, I don't know why. Why did you get into it? Like, that's my theory. Doug Benson will get high with everyone, and then like I like that. I don't know. It's like we were walking through a mall in Southern California one time. My whole family and these kids saw me at a Dave & Buster's, and they're like, "Holy shit, it's a machine!" And I was like, "What's up?" And they're like, "Dude, we got to do a shot with the machine." I was like, "Of course." So we go over. It's like noon. My kids want to go on the carousel. And I go over and I do a shot with them, and they're like, "This is the greatest day of our lives." And I was like, "Thank you for saying that." And then my wife's just sitting with my kids, like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, "It's my life."
Yeah. But that is your balance, right? You really are. Because, again, I see this from Periscope. You go home, you guys are in the pool, and you're running around, and they get who you are. You don't hide that aspect from them.
Not at all. I mean, and for all the stories you hear about my drinking, I'm pretty even keeled at home. I often don't drink at home only because I've got to get up I go to CrossFit at 6 a.m. and then I go take the girls to school when I get home from CrossFit, and I like to get stuff done. I like to have an active day. I also like drinking. If drinking shows up, it'll happen, but it's not like I don't think it's as bad as people would imagine, and I am an okay dad. My wife's a much better mom than I am dad.
Sure, that's true across the board for everybody.
Yeah. Like if you, for the average person, you're like, that guy's phoning it in. But yeah, like I'm a pretty hands-on dad. I like being a dad. I like being a dad better than a husband.
Up to one point, it was so sweet, wasn't it? But I respect you for saying that, because when a lot of guys will say they're nervous about being a dad, I'll just go, "Oh, you're going to be bad at it." You know what I mean? You're going to be bad. I don't know if the motherhood gene, like they have that gene, I don't know if the fatherhood is that natural to us. So
I'm on the road the whole first year of George's life. And Colin Quinn's Tough Crowd was my thing. I watched that. When I got home, Monday morning, my wife would sleep in. I'd sit with George, our youngest, and I'd watch Tough Crowd and the repeats of the Chappelle Show. It was perfect. I was on the road. I'd have coffee, and I felt like I wasn't. Oh, this is gonna sound fucking horrible. I felt like I wasn't connecting with Georgia, and it was kind of freaking me out. So I'm like, is it because I'm gone? Like the kid just doesn't get it. My wife says no, it's because I breastfeed her. So I was like, one morning, I'm like, I wonder if I can get her to latch on. So, and this is an attempt to connect with my daughter, right?
Of course.
So I very very casually offer the tit to her, and she goes for it, and I mean hooks in like a wrestling move, like it's jujitsu, just gong, and I can't get her off. You've got to pry them off with a fucking finger, and I'm going, help, help, and my wife comes in, she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, I wanted to connect with her. But I really honestly did not connect with my daughters until they were like 2, both of them. Yeah. Both of them, I did not connect with them until they were 2. And I think now I have a really close relationship with both of them. But it is this weird, like, I disappear for weeks on end. And then you come home, and sometimes they say shit like, I feel like I don't have a dad. And you're like, fuck. Like, what about that? Like, there's no way to rationalize. There's guys that go to Iraq for 2 years, and this is a job. This is what we do. I didn't see my dad all the time either. But then you just feel like that's when I feel like I'm like, you feel like a shitty dad sometimes.
But do you ever remind them that you took them to Dave & Buster's and then did fireballs with some whacked out kids?
I try to bring it up to them.
But that is true, right? That's the thing of you are away.
Yeah, you're away. I said to my dad one time, very recently, I said, I do feel like a shitty dad because of this. And he's like, no. This is what you picked to do. You picked to do this. This is what you do. That's it. There's nothing. You can't think about it in any other way. And he's like, listen. He's like, do you remember seeing me during the weeks? And I was like, and I don't really. I mean, my dad would go to work. He'd be at work before I went to school. I'd see him maybe. He was in a marathon, so on the weekends he'd run 10 miles on Saturday. I'd have a catch with him, but I didn't really like hang out with my dad. But things have changed so much now that it's like if you're not like a super hands-on dad, you're a shitty dad. And when you're a road comic, I remember Chris Hardwick said, "Why would you ever have kids if this is your life?" And I was like, I don't know. Like I had kids.
Points.
Yeah.
Points.
Yeah. Deductibles, man. Come on.
But see, I totally get where your dad is coming from that, because I only remember my dad on his vacations more than anything else. But But you know who spends more time is divorced dads. Like divorced dads will do anything to be around their kids.
Dude, Jason Ellis is divorced from his wife. I'm not to call out Jason, but he's a friend of mine. I don't think he would matter. And I see him having the greatest time with his kids. And then when they're gone, they're with their mom, and he gets to live his life. And I went, damn it, man. Divorce doesn't. If it didn't fuck the kid up, I might be into that.
I know this. I never saw my dad own a bumper car in his life, but divorced dads are like, what do you want to do this weekend?
Yeah, I got the kid. I got the kid, but I sleep because I'm home for 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, divorced dads really murdered his dads.
Yeah.
And it was funny because that used to be the stereotype of bad dads, and now they're murdering it, and us regular dads just taking a bath in fucking misery. Yeah, I think that's the other thing is that I'm a very regular. I get like people do my podcast out of my man cave, and I'm saying 8 out of 10 comics will go, dude, it's so cool to see like a version of a comic that's a regular person, because like I am a regular, very regular. Like my house it's expensive, but also only because it's in LA. But it's not like a mansion. I got 2 dogs, a rescue cat, and my kids are running around in my own merchandise shirts, and and my wife's like a solid 7, you know. And so, I mean, she's getting older. She was a 9 when I met her, but like she's no. But my wife knows I love her, and she's cool. Like Stanhope came to my house to do a podcast. This is like.
By the way, you could lose your kids just for that happening.
Dude, this is one of the... And by the way, fan first, I've been reading Doug Stanhope's blog on his website since I started comedy. So when Doug says he wants to do my podcast, it's a big deal for me. I'm like, fuck yeah, I love... He's one of the greatest comic voices of our generation. He doesn't even call me. I just open my front door because I hear something, and he's sitting on one of my Adirondacks coming in hot. He had been doing coke with Marilyn Manson all night, and he had just gone to Bill Burr's house, and he didn't feel it went well, and he's just like, I could use a vodka. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Me and him start drinking. We drink for probably 4 hours straight. My kids come home, and they come out, and they're like, Doug, would you like to have dinner with us? And my wife's like, did you guys just invite Doug Stanhope to have dinner with us? And Doug's like, fucking definitely. So me, Doug Stanhope, my kids and my wife have dinner, and I saw, you know, we all see the party side of Doug, but you see the regular side of Doug, him fucking around with kids, and we've all got that. And it was like, for him, it was cool to be like, have a home-cooked meal with a family. And when he got done, he was like, thank you for inviting me. That was so cool. And then we did another podcast, like 2 more hours of podcast, and just kept drinking and smoking cigars, and he's smoking cigarettes, and it was just great. And it was like, in that moment, we connected. Like, we really connected for friends forever. We'll always be friends because, I don't know, it was like this regular... And we both got that rode hard party, get down, it's late night, after hours club personality. But, you know, it was a really neat moment to have in life. But yeah, I'm a regular dad. I'm a regular dude. I'm not like a celebrity or anything.
Well, you don't set yourself up for it. You don't treat yourself like you're one. You know, you walk into places like you're ready to buy a ticket. It's kind of a rare thing because normally as soon as anyone gets any kind of VIP treatment, that's all they expect forever.
I went to Fleetwood's, a big restaurant in Maui, and like I just kept calling, going, "Hey, I'm famous. Can I get a good table?" Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Excuse me?" And I was like, "I'm famous. I'm on TV." Like, no, I don't think people on TV really do that.
No, I don't think Ted Danson ever pulls that.
But then we got there and they gave us a VIP place, and the guys that ran it was like, "Hey, I listened to your podcast," and they gave us like Mick Fleetwood's table, and we ate in the corner, and I was like, "Shit, they really think I'm fucking famous." And my wife's like, "You are? I've been on TV for 7 years. Like maybe you are."
Yeah. Well, you got the special coming out, which you kind of even waited a while before.
Well, very candidly, I got caught up in Travel Channel for 7 years. Mm-hmm. I did a special in 2009, started working for Travel Channel when I was 36, and I'm turning 44. I've been there the whole time. And they book you so that you cannot, I mean, it's good because they're paying you, but they book you out for a year. I mean, you're booked. I was doing 2 shows at one time. And I never had the chance. I would just do stand-up to get by, to keep fresh. And I never had the opportunity to do a special. And then finally I was like, I just told them, I was like, I need to take a break. I got to stop. I need to do this special. I'm a comic first. And I fell off a waterfall and fucked my back up. And when I posted it online, and all the comments, you'd think they would be like, get well soon or something. And they were like, hey, man, we don't watch your stupid fucking show. Like, stop putting your life in danger. Just do comedy. That's all we fucking care about. Your podcast and comedy. Stop with the TV. Everyone, Bill Burr and Rogan said the same thing. They're like, hey, man, we haven't really watched your show. We don't know if it's good, but you are a really good comic. You need to do an hour, and you need to focus on stand-up. And when you start hearing that enough, you're like, I need to be doing a special every 18 months. I need to be on the road. I can do TV, but it needs to be on comedy's terms, not the other way around. And so this special's been a long time coming, and I had this machine story that I feel like I had to tell. I feel like everyone knows it, but there's still millions of people that have never heard it, and so I felt like I wanted to get it out there because I also want to stop telling it.
That's the last time? The special is the last time?
No. Ronnie, if you know nothing about me, I can't let anybody down. Everyone's like, stop telling it. And one kid in the front's like, can you tell it one more time? When I was 22, I got involved with the Russian mafia.
But it's still a fun story for you to tell. I mean, you're holding court with that story because it's so insane.
It is. You know, it starts to become a separate entity, and you almost don't even connect to it anymore. Like kids from my class. For those of you that don't know, I robbed a train full of my classmates in Russia with the Russian mafia.
I just feel like for those people that don't know, that was a spoiler.
Yeah. I'm the machine. And so kids from my class that I robbed will come to my shows, and they'll sit in the front row. And it's always like, because you know, when you tell a story as a comic, it's laughter first, facts second. But I've tried to stay very true to the facts in this story because there are people that were involved, and if I ever get called a liar in the story, it'll fucking destroy it. And so kids have come to my shows that I robbed, and I always bring them on stage with a shot of vodka, and I go, so fact check that. What part of that isn't real? And they're like, it's 100% true. And you just do a shot of vodka, and I'm always like, I fucking told you. It is one of the greatest. It's the greatest story that ever happened to me.
Yeah, well, it's and that's going to be a big part of the special.
I close on that.
But I watched you because you periscoped it, and I saw you backstage before your special. You looked as chill as possible. You had the stool that you had written.
Yeah, I wrote all my because you always want to have a set list when you're doing a special, just so you don't miss anything. And at least if you miss it, then you can go back and go, oh, let's cover that. And so I thought, instead of having a piece of paper, what I'll do is I'll buy a stool. Of course, I bought 4 stools, and then I wrote my hour special on the stool. I wrote it like real pretty. I took some time to do it, and then I had my daughters write me notes, and I wrote myself notes like, remember your eyes, slow down, because I can rush through things. And so it was like a reminder, and I wrote it on 2 stools, and for each show I used a different stool for different sets. And then I was like, if the special gets really big, I'll auction them off to St. Jude's and say they can make money. And then I was like, fuck that, I'm going to keep them.
Yeah. Now, why do you write remember your eyes? Sometimes you forget your eyes?
Yeah, no. I have very expressive eyes, and I'm not like there's a couple jokes where like for instance, when I say I am the machine, I don't think that line's funny per se, but if I dart my eyes left, right, left, and then pop center, it gets a laugh. It sounds so silly, but just things you pick up in doing stand up, you know. And then so like it's just, I'm not gonna do it because it won't, but I'm like whatever the fucking line is, I get to his door, and everything he said, I can feel myself doing it. I knock on his door, and I meet a guy, a real Russian guy, wife beater, tracksuit, tattoo, cigarettes, and he just stares me up and down and goes, "Shto," and I panic, and everything I plan on saying fled out of my head, and all I said to him in his doorway was, I am the machine. And like I go back and forth. It's like, and so I got to pop my eyes, and if I pop my eyes, it gets a laugh. I don't know why. Another thing, when I go to the Korean school, like I do this thing where I go like this, like to point to them with my eyes, and it gets a big laugh. And so I don't ever want to bail on that in these jokes, but I don't want to be at eye heavy. So if I just see it every now and then, I go, oh, that's right, throw your eyes in there.
I like the fact that you don't want to be too eye heavy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be known as one of those comedians. You were also working a documentary, and then I didn't hear much about it since. Is there a plan for it?
I don't know. It was a big mistake. I mean, I love those guys, and it was a really cool experience. I mean, the shit we got. I mean, we have Hannibal Buress in one of the rarest forms you'll ever see this man. Like, just, we're all in Amsterdam, and he's just, Wah! I mean, it is a badass documentary, but it happened at a time in my life that I was going through something with a friend, and the way they covered it would not look so good upon this friend, and I think they need money to make sure that there's no lawsuit from this friend, and who's not a friend anymore, and we said we were going to split it 3 ways, and then they wanted more money because they'd spent more money, and it just got really bad, and then I just was like, whatever. I was like, do whatever you want with it. And I don't know what's going on with it. I've talked to them about it, and I was like, because it's so good. I wanted to make a documentary about what it was like to be an unknown comic and what that experience was like. And the day we started was the day I told the Machine story to Joe Rogan on his podcast, and it changed my life. I mean, it changed my life to the point where I remember our first date we did was Columbus, and people called into the radio station going, "The Machine!" And I went on stage, and the whole crowd was chanting The Machine, and I was like, podcasting had just blown up, and I was like, I guess I'm not an unknown comic. I just turned a corner. And so the documentary really is a person dealing with everything happening at the same time, and then all that happened, and me and a friend had a dispute that was aired live on podcasts, and that was all in it. And it was like all the things that happen to you when you start to get success, and all relationships falling apart, and me being on the road away from my kids because I'm all of a sudden Travel Channel's got me working everywhere. I've already got stand-up commitments, and it's a really fascinating documentary. But I don't know if it'll ever air. I hope it does.
All because of just business stuff, not any of the creative.
Just business.
Ideas.
I mean, the documentary is great. We've screened it. People loved it. But I think you need to have some sort of insurance policy in case people want to sue you, because it's not. I mean, trust me, it's not an unsuable documentary. Like it's a litigious documentary. It's real. It's a documentary, and it's a documentary about a comic who lives out there and kind of lives big swings, and so. I think they wanted to cover themselves. I think also the split. I was like, whatever you guys want to make, I don't give a shit. It's not about the money. It's about this product that fans supported and paid for, and them getting to see it. I want them to see it. But and I also don't want to fuck up. I mean, the guy's Jay Moore. I don't want to fuck up his career. I don't want it to look bad on him. But it just happened that we were making this documentary when Jay and I stopped being friends, and it doesn't look good. I mean, it just doesn't look good for either of us. And so
is Jay in the documentary too?
He is not.
No,
he's not. But he is in spirit.
So you guys aren't buddies anymore?
I haven't talked to him in like 5 years, 6 years since that. Yeah.
Is it something you would like to do though?
No.
I
mean, I think if I wanted to do it, I'd do it. I don't have anything against him, and if I ran into him, I'd be cool. But that was a really tough period for me.
Yeah.
I was like, and I'm very candidly, I started going to therapy because of it.
Of Jay?
Yeah. Because he was a mentor to me. He was like he was my guy, and then it fell apart in like the ugliest fucking way, and I didn't do anything wrong, and I can say that I've been to enough therapy to say I didn't do anything wrong, and then you at a certain point you kind of have to go, well, if you're going to lose a friendship over something you didn't do, that you had nothing to do with, it was out of your control, then you need to let that go. And Barry has reached out to me and said you and Jay need to be friends again. And part of me says he seems very happy, and I am very happy. And the last time we spoke, we were not happy. So maybe we just need it to run its course, and we'll meet up again in another point in our lives. There was no repairing the friendship while I was on Travel Channel. I was only home for like 2 days a month, and so maybe, I don't know. I don't have anything against him, and I don't hate him, and I don't want anything bad to come his way. I have nothing but fond memories about our friendship. The guy took me on the road, and I learned how to do radio because of him. I learned so much about this business from him. He was a for the bad portions versus the good portions, the good always outweighed the bad. But I'm a very different man than I was when we stopped being friends, and I don't know if candidly, if we could be friends, the man I am today, I never told him I drank. He was sober, and he didn't want me drinking, and I'm not going to stop fucking drinking. And like, you can be sober. You're the one with the problem, not me. But I didn't drink in front of him. And that was something that always bothered me. I never told him that I drank. He knew that I drank, but we just never talked about it. And it's like, that just is so fucking, I really regret that. There's a lot of shit I did wrong in this relationship. I'm not saying it's Jay's fault at all. There was a lot I did wrong. But that was, I'm a very different man today than I was when we stopped being friends. So, who knows?
Did I miss something? Are you and Jay gay for each other? What the hell did I miss? What the hell? What did I miss?
We watched a gay porn together one time. He bought it in my room as a joke, going, "Oh, this is going to be on your bill." And then we watched this dude suck another's dick, and neither of us could turn it off. We were like, "Fuck!"
And by turn it off, he means their erections.
Yeah. We turned it off when we got hard. Yeah, but times like that, I fucking giggle of just how much fun we had.
Well, I don't really even know your beef, but I'm like shocked that you had to go to therapy because
it was a very public beef.
Yeah,
it was online, and so I got attacked from one side, I got praised from another, and it was just shitty. And it's like losing a friend is hard. Like when you lose a friend, that's like getting broken up with. And it wasn't like hey, we should stop. It was like, you're a fucking piece of shit, you're a garbage, you'll have no friends, and like it was bad. And then I was like fuck. And so therapy's not bad. It just helps you figure out your head.
I can't imagine your therapist going, all right, explain to me again who Jay Moore is. And
my therapist, I told him, I said, you gotta listen to these 2 podcasts. It sounds so fucking weird. Listen to these 2. There's a thing on Reddit. Read that. Check out this story. Because I was like, I need to know my fault in this because I couldn't see it. And I go, you need to do everything. You need to do the work like a fan, and I'll still pay you, but you need to tell me where I was wrong in here. And he like, listen to Maron's podcast. I mean, and by the way, he's like, all of a sudden he's like, I'm a fucking fan of Jay Moore. It's like, he's like, that guy does amazing impressions.
Oh yeah, he's unbelievable.
And then at one point Joey Diaz called me. He's like, dog, fuck your therapist. We're having coffee every fucking morning. So I pulled out of therapy for a month and had Joey Diaz be my therapist. And I got in shape. I lost weight. I felt good about myself. I stopped drinking. I was like, Joe, you're fucking turning me around. Yeah, it was interesting.
You really are fucking impulsive, dude.
Oh, you have no fucking idea.
Yeah. So you're back in therapy now, though?
I'm always in therapy. I do it once a week.
And what kind of stuff are you talking about?
Working out bits.
Yeah. Is this funny? Is this funny?
Dude, I write down. If I say something funny, I write it down. Like, I'm fucking using it. I'm paying $300 an hour. I'm gonna fucking use it. I don't even know what I pay an hour because my wife won't tell me because she said I'd stop going to therapy.
Right.
But it's great. I love it because like a perfect example, we're talking about the ego, not ego, I don't mean ego bad, but like Kevin Hart and Amy and Dane have this thing about them where they're not fans first, they're business people first, they're artists first, it's them and they're on a fucking steamship, and I just could not wrap my head around how come I don't have that. Like, why am I always humbled, or why can't I just be like, yo, what's up? It's the mogul Bert Kreischer, I don't talk like that. I don't believe that way. And so I was talking to my therapist about it. He's like, you're an artist, create. And then I came up with that Speedo campaign. And I was like, fuck, that's what I do, man. I don't fucking promote myself. I just make shit. I write jokes. I make TV. I have a sitcom coming that we're shooting. And I'm like, that's what I do. I let the work speak for. No, I'm not shitting on them. I'm saying, for me, just create. And that's all I do. And I love it.
Now, the Speedo campaign, did that go anywhere?
No.
And you had your kids in the Speedo campaign.
I wish you had been there because I literally said to them, I go, guys, it's funnier if you don't fuck around. If you're in the back just being normal, that's the funniest. And to I did like 3 takes and they didn't screw around once. And it's so funny that I'm doing this presentation to Speedo and my kids are just literally playing in the back in the pool, just screwing around. Like, Dad does this all the time. I do wear Speedos all the time. That doesn't freak them out. But it went crazy. Like, it went viral immediately. I'd never had anything I've done do that. And then I was like, shit. And then I started looking at all my old videos and I was like, my vlog was fun. I was like, I have all the equipment. I have my own production studio in my man cave. I'll do this all I want. And then I was like, this is it. I'll focus on my podcast. I'll create TV shows that I want to do, and I'll do stand-up. And I'm like, right now, my next hour is better than this hour. Like, I'm in love with the art form. I'm in love with this. I'm in love with the press. Doing Opiate yesterday, some of the best radio I've ever done. I love that shit. I love this. This is like my dream come true, is hanging out with you and talking about me. Come on.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if we're going to air this, but because I worry about lawsuits too. No, but this really is your job and what you do well. Just coming out and being. And there's something that's so interesting about you because you're so incredibly comfortable and then you're so uncomfortable at the same time. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Gene Wilder had it, dude. That was the Gene Wilder thing, and even Woody Allen, where they could bring that to places.
Yeah, I had a meeting one time with the Donner Party that Richard Donner made.
Oh my God,
Goonies.
You want to call that's the Donner Party?
The Donner Party. Why would I call it the Donner Party? Jesus Christ! Why did I call it the fucking Donner Party?
That's something for your therapist.
That cannot be the name of their company. The Donner Party. Oh shit! Oh, I'm a fucking idiot.
When you said that, I'm like in a Westworld way. That you had a meeting with the Donner Party.
I had a meeting with the Donner. I had a meeting with the Donner Group, and they said to me, they were like, we had heard like a bunch of your stories, and then another story, and I said, I didn't know that you knew that was my story, and they said, of course, the character's you. And I was like, wait, what's my character? And they're like, politely, you're like a regular guy that gets in over his head and isn't that bright, and all of a sudden you're like fucking overwhelmed and you're involved with the mafia, or and I'm like, oh shit, that is me. Like, and in my head I was like, I've gotten in over my head with impulse and being this comfortable, uncomfortable guy my whole freaking life. It's like with the mafia, robbing a train, I'm totally uncomfortable, but here I am robbing a train. That's what confident guys do, and it just is a weird. It is. I wish I knew what had happened to me as a child that created this, because I do it to my kids. I think I'm a fun guy. I want to hang out with them.
But your kids look like they're having a ball too. A lot of people. I mean, they've been in and out of comedy clubs their whole lives, right?
Yeah. They've. When they were little girls, they'd come and they'd sit in the green room, and my wife would get them in their pajamas, and then at the end of the show, they'd run up on stage with me, and they've had the greatest comics in the world in and out of their backyard their whole child for the last 4 years, and they don't see it any different, like they just kind of, they're it's hard to make them laugh, but they're funny as shit. My youngest, Isla, is literally like, that kid is a walking bit. Like, everything she does is a bit. And you're like, I'm literally like, my wife will call me and go, get your notebook. This happened today. And they're just interesting little different people because of that. I guess when you don't have like a conventional household and you got one dad who just, all he does is think of funny shit. That's all I do. That's my only job. When you become a comic, you change your brain. You literally say, I'm going to be different than everyone else. And everything's a joke. Everything. At my grandmother's funeral, I'm crying. And my dad says, hey, fucking stop it. And I go, what? And he's like, it's enough. We get it. And I'm like, what? I go, what? He's like, you're making a scene. And he's like, and I go, okay. And he's like, what are you crying about? And I go, are you joking? And he like stands me up, and him and my uncle pull me aside, and they're like, what are you crying so much about? Like, what's so sad? I go, my grandmother's dead. And they're like, yeah, we know that, but like, what about that is so sad? And in my head, I'm like, this has got to be a bit. At some point, I can't figure out, so I'm too close to it, but I go, she's laying in a box. Like, and then like an idiot, I go, she doesn't look like herself. She was so happy. And my dad's like, are you fucking retarded? He goes, do you want her smiling in that box? And then I was like, yeah, that would be weird if she was like, hi. And they're like, hold it together. You're the head of this family. Hold it together. You crying, let everyone know they can cry. We don't want that. Hold it together, and at the end, we'll all cry. And I went, okay. So we had the funeral. The women grabbed all the flowers, and then my dad and my uncle grabbed me by the hand. They walked me up to the casket. This is so, and they just start crying like men, like, my mommy, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'd rather you guys molest me in a closet than have this moment. But even at a funeral, I'm writing jokes. I'm like, and that's the way your brain is. And when you got that for a dad, there's no way that you're gonna not see everything in a comedic light, everything. You know?
Your dad comes up a lot in your stories. Always been close.
Yeah, we're really close. He does. I don't think. I mean, I think he likes me, but I make him very uncomfortable. Like, really uncomfortable. Like, I know he loves me. I know he loves me. I know he's proud of me. But I know there are times where he's like, God, I wish you wouldn't fucking do that. Like, he picked me up from I do a Call in Sick to Work tour where I do morning radio, drink on radio, go right to the club at 1 or at noon. Everyone calls in sick to work, and they sell out everywhere. It's been probably the most successful thing I've ever done as a stand-up. And I did Tampa. I did my buddy, Cowhead, sure. Mike Calta. I did Mike Calta's show. I drank a lot of old fashions, and I maybe miscalculated it by 3, and literally blacked out halfway into my set. Don't remember anything. Don't remember how I ended the show. I was told that I ended the show by going, I'm not telling a machine story. I'm done doing stand-up tonight. And I walked off. And then there are 100 pictures of me obliterated with and I'm sure I did probably 10 more shots after that. And my dad had to pick me up because I grew up in Tampa. And my dad's just standing there in, golf shorts, penny loafers, no socks, and a collared shirt going, it's over. Let's go. Like, just really uncomfortable. Like that's his son. That this is how his son makes 10 grand. It's just like the Elephant Man gets hammered. It's not 10. It's not 10. It's really 5. But and you can see it in his eyes. Like, he's the guy that he's like, maybe I'll have a glass of wine. And then when you have a glass of wine, he's like, you're drinking it too fast. Like, I called him up. This is one of my favorite stories about my dad. I called him up one morning. So sometimes I wake up at 4 a.m. with panic attacks because I have weird, crazy dreams. So I called my dad to talk to me. He goes, what are you doing awake? He's like, I thought you just slept till noon. I go, no, I had a bad dream. He's like, you still dream? And like real matter of fact, I go, yeah, of course I do. I go, you don't dream? He goes, no, I don't dream. I'm a man. He's like, what are you dreaming about? Ponies and shit? I was like, yeah, I have had pony dreams. I have a lot of pony dreams.
Yeah.
But
ponies and shit.
Ponies and shit. But that's my dad. He's like, he's a real man. I don't know. Yeah, I'm very different. I'm a very different man than he is.
But he called you the head of the family, which is not a lot of dads will do that. That's pretty amazing.
Joey Diaz. This is a really interesting story. Joey Diaz slipped my dad marijuana Easter morning a couple years ago.
What do you mean he slipped it to him?
Gave him a bag of popcorn that my dad didn't know was marijuana. Okay. My dad takes 2 big handfuls, and then Joey's like, you're seeing the devil's dick tonight, Mr. K. We're going deep, cocksucker. It's Easter morning. And I find this out. My sisters lose their shit. They're like, Dad just ate edibles. And I'm like, holy shit. And I go, what do I do? And my little sister Cotty's like, you got to go down there with him. Like, you eat edibles. And so I just go in and I eat edibles. And I go, Dad, you ate marijuana. And he's like, no, but he ate popcorn. And I was like, no, that's marijuana. And he's like, no. I go, yes. And you ate a lot. I was like, this is going to get bad before it gets good. And we ended up doing a podcast. I was like, it was the only thing I thought natural was to do a podcast. We do a podcast, and then my dad's really fucking high. And me and him sit out, and we have like a Jameson's our drink. We have a Jameson and a cigar. A Padron 7000 is my favorite cigar. And my dad like opens up. He goes, can I tell you why you make me uncomfortable? And I'm like, I don't know if this is the conversation we should have right now. And he's like, you remind me of my dad. Everyone likes you. You have a good time. You like to party, and you're always there for everyone. You're always smiling and laughing. And my dad died when he was 42, and at the time I was turning 42. And he's like, and I just see this as a death sentence. I see you're going to die this way. And I said, well, I'm pretty healthy. Like I can run and I can lift weights and I take care of myself. And he goes, that's not it. I'm just not comfortable with it. And I said, what can I do to let you feel more comfortable with me. He goes, I would like to get you a cardiologist that I approve. I would like you to get all the tests that I asked for to know that your heart's healthy. And so I said, fine. And so I went. He got me a cardiologist. I did a CT scan. I did a stress test. I did a full everything. And I had a very, like, the 100% healthy heart, no blockage. And my dad was like, thanks. And I was like, we should have been eating marijuana together long ago. And it was like a great moment where we got to share over marijuana. Thank God Joey Diaz slipped it to my dad, like Bill Cosby.
But the thing is, and I would tell your dad this, it's not going to be your heart. You're going to get shot to death. That's the way you're going out.
Dude, it's going to be a plane crash, shark attack. It's going to be something big.
No. It won't be a plane. It won't be a plane because you're down, all soaped up, in the catcher's position, taking care of things.
Saying my prayers. Oh, yeah. That's when I got my life insurance exam. My recent one, they said to me, they were like, do you smoke? I said, no. Do you drink? I said, seldomly. And they were like, go through the whole thing. And then I go, you don't ask if I'm going to swim with sharks a lot or anything. And they're like, wait, do you? I go, yeah. Like, I've been doing it once a month lately. And they're like, wait, hold on. You swim with fucking sharks? And I was like, oh, why would I offer this up? It's like, oh, I'm an idiot. Never mind. But yeah, it'll be something bizarre. When I die, you ever cut your finger cutting onions and then you go, motherfucker, just let me go back in time for 3 seconds so I don't cut my finger. That'll be me when I die. God damn it. I really fucked up. Let me go back 3 seconds.
Dude, you know what I love is that we're going to have this for after you die, and I'll be able to play it that night. And I'll be like, he knew. Bert knew.
My funeral is going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's
a fun roll.
I'm telling you right now. There's not, and very luckily, there's not one thing I haven't done in my life that I want to do. I've lived out every bucket list adventure I could ever imagine on Travel Channel. I've spent 7 years vacationing 3 weeks a month. For the past 7, I've done everything. Jumped out of planes, jumped off the buildings, swam with great white sharks out of the cage and in the cage. I've done everything you want to do. I've done more with this limited amount of skills and this little hair that I have that anyone. When I get to heaven, God's going to go, shut the fuck up. I didn't give you that much. How did you do it? Get out of here. You're not even smart. How did you said how you did stand up? Are you kidding me? Shut up. Yeah, it's going to be a fun funeral. I just want everyone to cry and be drunk.
Well, we will, but at the end with your dad. No one's going to do anything.
My dad will be dead first.
I don't think so. Bert Kreischer, everybody, the machine. Friday, November 11th at 10 o'clock. Thank you so much.
Ronnie,
I love you, kid. Seriously.
Thank you, man.
Thank the world of you.
Thank you so much.
Kreischer.
Thank you.